Islam, Shalom, Hola, Aloha, Osio, Bonjour, Assalamu Alaikum. This your brother Zach Bay, Indigenous American Moor. Do you have questions about claiming your nationality? Are you confused or hesitant on how to get started or where to get started? Resources on what to study? Questions and answers? Maybe even a question on where to purchase an authentic fez. Help me help you. Book your session below. Use keywords Moorish nationality. Islam, Shalom, Hola, Aloha, Bonjour, Assalamu Alaikum, Osio. This is your brother Zach Bay, Indigenous American Moor, coming to you live and full effect. Like, share, subscribe to my channel. Hit that notification bell down below so you can be notified whenever I'm dropping new content. Leave a comment and interact with me. Thank you. I really do appreciate the viewership. Let's jump into another one. Today I want to speak about something I've been thinking about for a while, and I've spoken to my cousin, my mother, and a few other friends about this topic. But about a week or two ago, I was talking to my cousin. In the conversation, he was saying that he really understood what I was saying before, and he brought up the topic of Moors don't move, or Moors won't move unless it's at the end of a sword, the tip of a sword, all right? Meaning, our people won't do anything until that the state of where we're comfortable is so uncomfortable that we're forced to move. There's a fire impending. There's a flood impending. The food is running out. The water is contaminated or something. Like, something has to make us do it. Like, with a physical driver, fam. Like, it's a shame that we can't just come together as a collective and do this as a unit. But to think about it, it is a collective and concerted effort in order to stop and prevent us from coming together as a unit, as a whole, all right? Like I told you before, and like I've said many times, it is a $1 billion industry to keep the Moors, the indigenous people of America, separated, to keep us disbonded, to keep us distraught, to keep us confused, you know, to keep us questioning. It's a $1 billion industry, fam, to keep us oppressed. So I want to play a few videos from some OGs who are speaking, and some things I agree with them saying, and there's other things that I don't agree with them saying. But I think it's all important to just take these different perspectives from these OGs, and you know, I hear the message that they're trying to put out to us, to the youth, and answer the question that these young brothers are asking them for the people, and what they see through their experience in their life. All right, so jump into it.
Listen up. Why does it seem like when you look at all the different races, you know, Spanish, Chinese, African Americans is the only race that don't want to stick together?
You got to have a culture.
Yeah.
Negro don't have any culture. When his grandparents was born, their brothers and sisters separated. And as they had children, anyone that was ornery or government called them trouble, they sent them to another slave farm. They kept your culture down. They kept the human bond away from you. You was around strangers all your life. So just like me and you brothers, no matter we were together for 10 years, we get separated, we meet together 20 years later, we know each other. Because we had that bond built between us. But if I'm a slave, and my mother's a slave, and your father's a slave, and they take their children, they send me to Georgia, send one to West Philly, send one to California, when we meet again 30 years later, we ain't got no relationship. We have no culture, no bond in between us. That's why we are like we are. The only thing that we call on our own is being materialistic. I own this. I got this. That's our culture. Money.
This is a system designed, and it's designed for a reason. See, will say stupid like, I ain't oppressed. You know what Harriet Tubman said? She said, I would have freed so many more of my people only if they knew they were slaves. All niggas want is comfortable oppression. It's okay with being oppressed as long as it's comfortable. Master he slapped that nigga 10 times. He only slapped me 9. I'm all right with that. Master, we pick cotton for just 23 hours a day. Now, he didn't make us pick it sun up to sun up again, 24 hours. Just want comfortable oppression. And the system understands that we'll feed these hope. We'll feed them false hope. We'll give them 1 or 2 to idolize, to put up on a pedestal, to chase. And it's achievable, but it's not achievable. The system isn't meant for everybody to win. Because if it was, everybody would be winning.
The black lady Shonda Macy. Why ain't nobody been hurt behind that? Why we ain't got no terrorists like the 9/11 terrorists that'll drive a car into that police officer mama house and boom, you know what I'm saying? Why we ain't got nobody like that? Everybody else do. The Mexican cartel got somebody that'll come crash out, homie. Even white people. They got some white boys that they can program to come kill 10 black people in the church. They got some crash dummies, homie. Why our crash dummies crash out on us? Why we don't have no crash dummies that'll crash out for the race? Why? Because we can't imagine it. But we'll crash out on each other. I don't give a damn about going to jail. Okay, if you don't give a damn, let's hunt George Zimmerman down. Why ain't nobody done nothing name of police shooters? Why we ain't turning up the country for a woman who was killed for calling on the Lord? She was murdered for calling on the Lord. Where are all these black churches that'll go find out where his mama live, his kids live, the police chief live, and be out there waiting to do something? Where they at? But we so gangster with each other. So that's why I say this code don't nothing bother me about what happened to black people. It wouldn't bother me, homie, because I know nobody's gonna die for what they do to us. If a Mexican do something to us, we gonna let the Mexican make it, homie. If we in jail and the Mexicans wanna do something to me, they'll give me to the Mexicans, homie, just to keep peace with the Mexicans. Call it politicking. Miss me with all that.
Right. So, what I got from what the OGs were saying, one of them was saying like how we don't have a culture, that they broke our culture up. All right. We do definitely have a culture. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people who say that we don't have a culture, but we have a culture. But like he said, it has intentionally been broken up, and we've been separated from our central strength and our central power, fam. Like, that's the family. The family, having a strong family unit makes all of us better, and it produces the best product to go out into the world. So people growing up having broken homes, and then they're growing up fractured and fragmented, and then they bond with someone else who came from a broken home. And those traumas and those fractures and fragments bond together, and they create something else that product has fractured and fragmented origins. So it can never be complete. It can never be completely pristine, fam. And that's like, I use that as an analogy for the product that we're producing, as in our children, fam. Our children. We're having those same dramas, those same problems, creating broken homes, broken families, passing on those generational traumas, even if it's not by our design, fam. Because with research in epigenetics, meaning that with the new breakthroughs in epigenetic research, it has been proven that trauma can pass down through generations, fam. So the trauma that our ancestors went through, being separated, being beaten, being tortured, all those traumatizing acts, that state of being was passed down through the blood. And if it was never remedied, if it was never fixed, fam, that might show up in another relative, or it might show up in another descendant down the line. And we're still reeling from the repercussions of what our ancestors faced and the traumas that they went through during those times, fam. Now, it's good and bad. We took perseverance from them, fam. So it's like all the things they tried to do to destroy our people, we're still here. We're not a conquered people. This is still our land. We still bleed for this land. We're still strong in our way. You know what I'm saying? In all the ways they tried to break us, they cannot completely break us, fam. That's why we still here. We just need to get back to how we originally were. Another OG was talking about how it's too comfortable. They intentionally made the cage that we're in like a comfortable cage, fam. It's like we're out here and we can't see that we're being oppressed. We can't see the invisible chains that are on our minds, the invisible chains that are around our ankles, right? There's certain echelons of people who might be held up here to seem like they have made it out of poverty. But the crazy thing about it is what the system is designed to do is anybody who is amongst our people who makes something of themselves and can potentially benefit and grow the community, they intentionally remove them away from our community. They put them in other spheres of life. They go to certain schools that are filled with different demographics of people. They isolate them and they start to mold them into something that's more shaping toward their world, how they want it to be, instead of us getting that prosperity, that opportunity, that finance, and bringing it back to the grassroots, to the community, and building it from the ground up. They take anybody who has a chance to do better and to better our community, and they separate them and they remove them from our community, fam. That's part of the agenda. That's part of the design. It's like this comfortable cage that we're in. They made it so soft that it like lulls us to sleep. It's like a cage that you can't see the fences, all right? I've seen these devices that they put on dogs. It's like a certain collar, but around the yard, there's an invisible fence that if the dog goes outside of that fence, that collar is going to shock it because it went outside that perimeter. It's somewhat like what is on us. If we go too far outside of how they designed us to be, we become a danger. We become a threat to them, and they don't like that, and they'll automatically target us. But there's not enough of us to make a strong collective. They intentionally broke down the businesses, the family lands that were in our community that we were using to rise up leaders from the grassroots. They thought back in the civil rights era, they were thinking, what can we do to make sure that they can never rise up in this form of fashion and power against us ever again? They realized that all those leaders, MLK, Brother Shabazz or Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, Noble Drew Ali, all these people came from the grassroots. They were supplied, they were funded by our own people. The system will never fund its own downfall, fam. And that's why I push so hard, because it's like me putting out this information, the chances of one of these videos going viral and blowing up are almost slim to none. And it's because I'm speaking on the system and how it's designed to oppress a certain group, a certain demographic of people, fam. And it's been designed that way. There's different classes, there's caste systems. So until things get so bad that we're forced to make that move, we're forced to do something at the end of a sword. I was speaking to my mother about this. It's when the first time Trump got in office, a lot of people started showing themselves for the bigots, the racists, and the fascists that they are. I told her that I would much rather know who my adversary is. I want to know who my enemy is. I want to be able to look and point them out, because it's easier to know who you're up against. It's easy to see them instead of everybody hiding behind a smiling face, and you have to pick and choose which one is friendly, which one's not friendly. You know what I'm saying? Muhammad Ali said it best. He was like, if there's snakes coming at me and there's like 100 snakes that are good, but there's 1,000 that are bad, am I gonna expect those 100 snakes to form a line around me? So, along with us being forced to make dramatic changes at like the tip of a sword or through external stimuli, it's like this is the perfect time. I've seen a lot more people starting to get active, starting to get mobile. People who are realizing and who are uniting together as a unit, as a united front. We're starting as a collective to realize that we are the only ones who can save ourselves. We're not trying to save any other groups of people. We're no longer putting our necks on the line. We're no longer being the front line for every single social issue or movement that has ever been had in this country, fam. We've always been the first ones on the front line, the first ones to take the hit, the first ones to take the beating. Us, we've always shed the blood, sweat, and tears, fam. It's always been us. We're finally starting to collectively decide we're not taking any more bumps and bruises for any other groups of people, fam, because none of them come together for us when our group, when our demographic is taking a hit, when we're targeted, fam. None of them. You know what I'm saying? I've been around for over 30 years now, fam. It's like I have not seen it, fam, in the time I've been here. And I've seen us go out there. Me personally, I went out there for other groups of people, and it's like we don't get that same report. We don't get that same response. If anything, people speak against us. People intentionally go to the court and try to do things against us. The whole getting rid of the affirmative action thing that the Asian community were talking about getting into like Ivy League schools and colleges. They were saying that it disproportionately aimed toward advantaging our people, which was not the case, because the number of our enrollments hasn't even barely changed since they removed that. Now they've done the same thing with the DEI, the diversity, equity, and inclusion. Studies have shown, the numbers have come out that we were the least recipients of that diversity, equity, and inclusion. It mostly went to so-called white women. You know what I'm saying? LGBTQ, disabled, other groups of so-called marginalized people. They like to use code words like that in order to get our people's energy behind it, and then we're the last to benefit from it. We're not going for that anymore, fam. We're not going for it anymore. If the program isn't specifically targeted to improve us, our lives, our community only, then we're not going for it. And I feel like in this time in history is like the greatest time for us to really get our stuff together, because if we don't do it now, it's going to be too late, fam. They already have the agenda for the 2040 plan. Like, net worth for so-called black people is supposed to be 0. So no, we can't let that happen. There's people moving together, bonding together, forming like militia type organizations with the new Black Panthers. There's people forming together, creating housing covenants, creating compounds, buying up large acres of land. There's plenty of ways we can tackle this. There's people boycotting, using our economic power, because just the so-called black community, so-called colored, here in the United States, we have the same GDP, the gross national product, of other nations, of like of like Sudan or something like that, of a whole other country. All right, we have that type of spending power. We have that type of economic power here, fam, and we need to start using that. I also agree with the dismantling of the Department of Education. I have a video that I'm going to go over, that I'm going to talk about a few points that I believe that dismantling the Department of Education is going to be beneficial for us. All right. And some of it's going to be with, removing this so-called Black history stuff, because the more we're starting to learn that we're not Black, though, that's just something that was created by the U.S. government to put a label on us that they owned. That's what it is. There's no such thing as Black history, fam. There's no such thing as Black being a historical term for our people. It's not. When you look at the documents, when you look at the record, they called us by our actual name. They called us Moors. They called us by what tribe we were from during the time. It's like we have to go back to these ancient titles, fam, because that's who we are. So the fact that it's really going to take the tip of a sword in order for us to do something, it absolutely is. And then that's when we're going to become more mobile, more active. I pray. Honors to all the prophets. The last thing I want to cover before I end this video, a clip about Charleston White saying that we don't have any crash dummies to progress our community, fam, and I absolutely agree with that. That's one of the things that I absolutely agree with that. We have too many people doing wild things that make our community look bad. We need to somehow mobilize people who will be willing to do that type of stuff in order to advance us, fam. It's like when he was saying like Zimmerman is still walking around and stuff like that. It's like, come on, fam. The way everybody stood around and watched that happen to George Floyd out there, it's like, come on, fam. It's like, if we aren't willing to protect our own people, if we not willing to crash out for our own people, fam, if we not willing to go to bat, if we not willing to go scorched earth for our own people, for our own nation, it's like these people really think that they have the right to wipe us out, to try to wipe us out, as they've been trying to do for a few hundred years now, fam. But we still here. We are the most resistant. They can't get rid of us, fam. They just can't. We are the most natural and organic people on this plane, on this earth, fam. It's like it can't get no more realer than what we are, than who we are. And we can endure, we can survive anything that can be thrown at us, fam. And that's why they're intentionally trying to alter our DNA. They're intentionally trying to break us down. Chemical warfare, germ warfare, biological warfare. They're doing all these things in order to alter us genetically, to make us weaker, to make us more docile, more susceptible. They're putting things in the food, in the water, chemicals, changing our moods, changing our minds, mind washing, mind erasing, and brainwashing people, and MK Ultra. It's like there's so many things stacked against us, fam, but we still here. We're still resistant, and we need to organize, and we need to have some type of control over these people who might potentially harm the community, who are within the community, and just take care of their family in order to get them to potentially do something that's going to better our community, fam. Like, we cannot let people come in and feel like they can do anything to us. There's not going to be any more bombing of Black Wall Streets, fam. Like, that's another video I want to make as well. If we are to rebuild those communities, and we are to have all of our people grouped up together, there's people who think they'll come and attack us because we're all grouped together. There's people who think they will come and try to burn down and destroy all of our businesses, all of our land. This is a new age, fam. And unless they use the force of the United States Army, they're not doing it. There's no police force, fam. There's no police force. There's no state police force that has the power to do that. Even if they called in the militia, They would have to call in the militia, but there's no need, because as long as we're just doing commerce and we're doing our thing, if they send that to us and all we're trying to do is grow and be separate from them, and they do that and intentionally try to destroy it, that's going to make them look bad, fam. And then we have every single right in order to defend ourselves, in order to defend our lives and our property and our land. And the way technology is now, we have some stuff that's almost, you know, just as good as theirs. Of course not like the planes and everything, but it would literally have to be an all-out war. And this country does not want to fight a civil war on this land, fam. That's like the last thing they're gonna do. The closest thing we've had to like civil wars was all these rebellions and uprising after the Civil War happened. All right, after the American Civil War happened, there were still rebellions and uprisings, fam. So it's not over. We still have a chance to combine and unite together, and in order to make a positive future for us, fam. It's like there's just no stopping this. This is the time. And I feel this is a president who will actually communicate with us if we came together as a national unit. Kendrick Lamar, all I ever wanted was a black grand national. You know what I'm saying? You know the word black, how the word black does not mean us, but you know, that's the collective usage for our people, for the indigenous people, for the Aboriginal people of this land. So it's like nationality, getting on your nationality, fam, is the key. This is the era. We need to come together as a nation. We need to raise our finance. We need to corner a market of an industry, fam, and just monopolize it. So I'm gonna end it here, and stay tuned to any more videos that I might drop. Thank you for watching. Peace.